wanted to write from like the moment I couldn't even spell.
But I do agree. I got a lot to learn when it comes to acting. I still got to practice.
We're on the radio promoting the show and had invited people.
Better than the first. The Adam Talks Podcast, Season 2.
Hey guys, it's me, Adam, right here on the Adam Talks Podcast. I would have to say this episode is a knockout of an episode, or maybe even we would call it a highlight episode. Now, before I go any further into what that could possibly mean, can I ask you to do one thing for me? Just one thing. It's super simple. It takes just a second of your time. Could you hit that subscribe button? If you're listening to us on an audio platform, could you push that follow button? Guys, it's something that takes 2 seconds. It's super simple, but it means the world too. If you could do that, I would appreciate it very, very much, and I'd be so grateful for you to do that. Let's get right into it. We are talking to Donovan, the highlight reel beard. Guy has fought on Dana White's Contender Series. He is a middleweight master, currently fighting in the welterweight division in MMA. He lives in Texas. The guy is a stand-up dude. And this conversation was just awesome. We got to talk about his career, how he's overcome different things, and man, it is just a really cool conversation, guys, and I can't wait for you to hear it. So without any further ado, here's my conversation with Donovan, the highlight reel beard. Right now we have a really awesome guest, guys. Welcome to the show. By the way, it's awesome to be here. Very excited for this one. We have a guy who's fought on Dana White's Contender Series, a guy who's a big-time name in MMA, a guy who you might know as the highlight reel, Donovan Beard. Thanks for coming on, man.
Man, yeah, I appreciate you, man. Thank you for having me, and real excited to be on.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. How did you get into MMA, first off, man? Has it always been a thing you've been interested in, or is it something that just came along a little bit later?
Well, to be all the way honest, man, it was something that I was always interested in, martial arts, as a child growing up, watching Bruce Lee and Dragon Ball Z and such like that, and looking at it on TV. You know how parents are when kids watch TV. Oh, don't be imitating stuff that you see on TV. That ain't real, blah, blah, blah. So,
yeah,
you know, thinking that's logically true, I believed it. So one day, I watched UFC with Anderson Silva and Chuck Liddell and all those big names from back then, and I was just like, dang, those guys are really doing it for real. Like that,
yeah,
that's gnarly stuff right there. So fast forward again, playing the UFC game with John Jones and Alexander Gustafsson on the case at this time on PlayStation 4. So I'm just playing the game or whatever. And then I got to thinking one day, like at that moment, I'm like, man, those guys aren't all the UFC fighters that are doing those moves. And I know most of those people are in green screen suits that are average Joes like me and you. You know what I mean? So with me thinking that, I'm like, if those regular average Joes can do it, why can't my average regular Joe self can't do it? So my roommate at the time, he had bought a punching bag, and I would be on my creative player mode looking at the moves and stuff like that, seeing how to punch, kick, and Superman punch, throw elbows, all that stuff. So I'm just looking at the game thoroughly. And then I'll run back to the living room where the punching bag is, and then I'll practice the moves and run back to the room. And it was just a back and forth type of deal. And fast forward years later, a cousin of mine who was actively doing MMA pointed me in the direction of the gym where I was at the time in Hot Springs, Arkansas, but now I live in Fort Worth, Texas, and I'm at a new gym. And it's just been that way ever since, man. Since I was 27 years old. I'm 34 now.
Same age as me, man. 34. Turned 34 in January.
Man, yeah.
But I could relate to that. Whenever I was a kid, it was the Power Rangers. When we were back in the day, man, it was the Power Rangers, man. Watching them doing them kicks and stuff, Tommy Oliver and everybody just doing it, man. And trying to fight your cousins and stuff like that. And they're like, don't do that. You're going to get hurt. And then you're like, we're just having fun. We just want to play fight.
That's
and
it.
They would never let us. They would never let us, man. It's kind of the way that, I guess, in the same way that my pro wrestling career started, on mattresses out in the yard. You know what I mean?
Oh,
It just kind of happened. Came along with it one day. So, did you start MMA, or did you start just training, like learning a striking skill or a jiu-jitsu skill first? Was it just a little bit of everything?
Well, it started off in the neighborhood, slap boxing with your cousins and other kids and stuff like that. Then it transitions into liking striking at first for me. Then whenever I got into the gym, it became something to train in for grappling and jiu-jitsu, because the guy that I went up against, I'm thinking, me being the bigger guy, I had the advantage. And I'm like, I would roll up this little kid. Like, he ain't nowhere near as big as me. And next thing I know, I'm getting put in all types of chokeholds and held on the ground, being straddled up against my will. I'm like, look, man, why you doing this to me? Just show me the moves. Just show me the moves. And, But I would say I would prefer striking myself. But if it goes to the ground or we get intertwined or tussle up and everything, hey, I'm cool with that too.
So on a recent episode of the show, I talked to Jessica Link, who's a bare knuckle boxer, and I asked her this sort of a similar question. She said that whenever you're out there fighting and stuff, you don't really hear the crowd. You're focused on your coach and listen to what they're saying, because they can give you advice. Is it hard for you to tune the crowd out to listen to the coach, or is it something that came more natural?
Well, at first, my senses were so heightened to the point where I'm hearing the coach, I'm hearing the crowd, I'm hearing the family that's there to support me, all that stuff, And I remember my fourth fight amateur. My fourth fight as an amateur. That's when I heard my coach, and it just like ding, 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 light bulb went off. Like, oh my God, I could hear him. Like, that's how I know. Well, I knew at that time that I was progressing, especially if I could hear a familiar voice in a high stressful situation like that, And now, like, I'm in tune with my coaches and I'm in tune with the crowd. Like, I don't know, I just hear everything, but I know what to focus on and I know what not to focus on, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah, man, definitely. I feel like it's probably very important to know that some things, like, you have to have an instinct for. You got to listen to your coaches, but at the same time, if something's coming in from your coaches and you see something else in front of you, your instincts may be like, they're telling me this, but right now I should probably, block her. I should probably try for a takedown or whatever. But other times you definitely have to key in on the coaching, because they're telling you from experience, hey, this is what I know they're probably going to do next. So yeah, it's definitely, I'd say, yeah, it's probably definitely important to be able to tune in different ways, Take us back to your first amateur fight, man. How did you prepare for it, and what was it like going into that first situation?
Well, I started training in May that year, and I ended up having a fight September. whenever I first got into the gym, I didn't think about fighting at all. I was just excited just to be a quote unquote martial artist, just practicing, And after a while, my coach came up to me and was like, "Hey, you gonna fight?" I'm like, "Heck yeah, shoot, let's try it, And I'm going to training consistently every day after finding out that I have a fight. I was already going on a regular basis, but I was trying to get a hold of the scheduling because I was already showing up late as it was, trying to get there for the drive and all that stuff. So I'm preparing as much as I can. And man, boy, when I tell you like the anxiety that I had, it was just like, all right, I know I'm gonna be in a fight, but it ain't no lunchroom cafeteria fight. This ain't no in the hood street fight. This ain't nothing like that. This is a semi-professional setting, you know what I mean? And that guy's been training and I've been training. I don't know what he knows. He probably could have been doing this stuff since he was 2 years old. I don't know. It's a whole different ball game of stress to deal with. So, I'm getting prepared, and next thing I know, it's a light heavyweight fight. I started off at a light heavyweight weight. Whenever I walked in there, maybe about like 210-ish, and I'm losing weight and I'm getting my form together, and I'm like walking around like 195 at most. So we go to weigh in. I get on the scale, I'm like 197. The guy from the commission, he looks down at the scale, looks up at me, and just busts out laughing. I'm like, what's so funny? He's like, you are severely underweight right now. I'm like, is that bad or what? Me being new to everything, I don't know. So he tells me, you may need to eat a few things in order to make the weight that you need to be at right now. So I walk out, and we weighed in at a restaurant in Little Rock. One guy that was fighting on the card with me, or with someone who was fighting on that card, this fool tells me, hey man, why don't you go to the bar, get you a fat ass wing plate, like, cause they got some bomb wings, some teriyaki wings. They'll get you a 10-piece. Bro, go get you a 10-piece with some fries, and you come over here and we hang out and you eat in front of everybody. I'm thinking, he's being friendly or whatever, being a nice guy, So I get my food, bring it over to the table, start eating and everything. And then I started realizing what he told me based on everybody's look. Now, remember, we're at a weigh-in now. I'm looking at everybody look at me crazy right about now. I'm like, what the hell is everybody staring at me for? The hell? Because I'm fucking just chowing down eating, and everybody else just sitting there suffering like, are you serious? You're eating at a weigh-in? Like, what is your problem? And you got to fight? What? So I weigh in like 200, roughly 200, 202 pounds. And he comes in on weight 205. And then I found out after we get done fighting, this guy cut from 220 to 230 to get to 205. You know how upset?
Holy crap, man.
Bro, do you know how upset at myself that I was, that I probably was going into a fight where this guy was like extremely bigger than me and was just like, are you serious right now? I mean, I end up kicking him in the head, in the third round. He took me down a lot, and I couldn't get up because I really didn't know how. But he remembers me from that night just like I remember him from that night. So it was pretty fun, man. Like that experience in itself was just like, oh man, like we're here now. Like it made me chase that high of wanting to win and compete, you know. And then my second fight, I won by triangle, a jiu-jitsu move, which I didn't think was possible for me at the time because, like I said, I was very weak in grappling and wrestling and jiu-jitsu and stuff. And then to get my first win off of something that I knew I was weak at, oh man, that was great.
Yeah, man. I imagine, and I don't know for sure, but I imagine the amateur, whenever you're fighting an amateur, it's a lot like a building time period where you're building yourself up, learning, just building and learning and gathering knowledge, being a sponge to get ready for that next step up to the professional area. Is that what that is? Like during that time period, it's a building time period for a fighter to become the best they can before stepping into the bigger stage?
Certainly, yes, it is, because that's when you get all your experience and all of your big mistakes out of the way so you can understand what you're good at, what you're not good at, what you need to work on, stuff like that. And also take in mind into which, is it something that you want to do as a hobby or do you want to make this a profession? Because some people, they just want to see how far it goes as an amateur just to see if they want to go pro. Then others like myself start off as a hobby. Then after a while, then it becomes a lifestyle. Then after a while, it becomes a profession. And now it's become something that helps my mental health. So, and it does all the above. So,
is there a lot of mental struggle in the fight game?
Of course, it's like damn near with anything, especially with life. You know, we all struggle to wake up in the morning and want to be productive when we don't want to be, train when you don't want to train, eat what you don't want to eat from weight cutting and stuff like that. Even loving salt more than anything because you have to cut salt out in order for you to have a accurate weight cut. Like it's a lot that we deal with as people, especially chasing this type of dream of ours. And it's just so much that goes with it that most folks don't really understand. But to those that do, we really appreciate y'all respect and admiration and such, because we work tirelessly day in and day out to make sure we give y'all the performance that we want y'all to see and we want to see from ourselves.
Yeah, I think in life it's a difficult thing. When you have a dream and you want to go after it, you have all those hurdles that you have to go over, the getting up, like you were saying, the getting up and out of bed and training and doing this and that. There are times that I don't want to do anything, but if I'm going to write more music, or if I'm going to wrestle another match, or if I'm going to do another podcast and find another guest or something, I got to get up and put the work in, no matter how hard it is and how tough it is. My question, I guess, is how do you overcome all of that in order to accomplish what you're doing?
Man, it's good old fashioned putting on your big girl pants and getting to it, man, you know. That's pretty much it. Just doing what you gotta do. Like me, I don't like to be broke or embarrassed. So I get up and go to work every day like I'm supposed to. Work overtime because I like extra money. And I'm always in the gym every day as much as I possibly can be for as long as I can be. And doing extra work outside of the gyms just so I won't get tired in the fight and embarrass myself by not training properly and not doing what I'm supposed to do. Because I get in there, oh yeah, I'm gonna whoop this guy. Oh man, and then next thing I know, I done got beat up from every which way to Sunday just because I wasn't preparing myself accordingly. And that's something that I gotta live with and look at myself in the mirror to be mad at and be disappointed by, which if I know I can prevent it, I'm gonna do everything that I can. So that's why I'm running extra, getting extra reps in the gym, making sure my diet stays as clean as it can be, and just keeping that mind state of doing what I need to do.
So, have you ever had those moments where you were like overconfident and it kind of messed you up in the fight?
There was a fight that I had, my sixth fight that I had as a professional against Raheem Forrest. Shout out to him, real good dude. And I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna be honest right here. That fight, I was 5-0 at the time, doing good and everything. And I started to smell my little so-called greatness duty and was like, yeah, I ain't gotta train that much for a fight, man. I'm winning and blah, blah, blah. I ain't gotta run that many miles like I used to. Da, 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 da. So, getting the big head. Hey, then I'm going to a new weight class, so I'm looking at my old coach and other teammates at the time because they, oh man, weight cutting is actually hard. You don't be cutting no weight because you go to 185. Like, bro, that stuff is easy. That ain't nothing hard. I got the weight off, but I didn't rehydrate properly. And like I said, I ain't gonna lie, I smoked a hell of a lot of weed during that fight camp. I ain't even gonna lie. Smoked the day before, the day of. I was just like, I'm gonna win regardless. So I'm in the back, I'm warming up, and I'm just like, dang, why I feel so tired? I'm so tired. I was like, what the hell? I don't like that. I'm like, man, I'm a win regardless. I ain't tripping about that. I'll come alive whenever the lights come on. Man, shoot. When I'd say that was a struggle, boy, that dude got me problems. I ain't gonna lie, man. Like, it could have went either way to make it seem so bad, but I just didn't have the gas tank because I wasn't running like I was supposed to. I wasn't doing everything in the beginning that fueled my fire for the passion to do it, and I just lost my way with it after a while,
Yeah. I mean, it happens, but like you said, I'm sure that work that you were talking about putting in a little while, just a second ago when we were talking, putting that work in, just jumping right back into it, being like, all right, I know what I did wrong. I got to train harder for this. I got to be better than I was before. And that, I'm sure, motivated the hell out of you to get back in it and get another win.
Bro, like, the loss itself, like, how most people, I'm undefeated, and, they lose that one fight, and it's like, oh my God, I'm not undefeated anymore. Like, I didn't care about being undefeated or anything. It was the whole point of me knowing what I did to get the result that I did, and knowing that that's not the way I roll, and I shouldn't have done that, and I could have. It was the whole thing. I knew I could have prevented it, and I didn't. So that's what really made me make it up to myself. It was just like, bro, we are not finna go down like that. If you're gonna do this for real, you're gonna make sure you're gonna, like, it's a 100%, no doubt commitment right here. So I'm going back to the mountain. I'm hitting my miles. I'm hitting my sprints. I'm staying over like I used to. Like, it's game time now. And then I end up getting a 2-fight winning streak after that. Then winning the Cage Fury fighting championships, middleweight world title. And then that's when I end up going to the Contender Series.
Contender Series. Oh man, right on, man. All right, we're going to go back before the Contender Series and talk a little bit about the beginning of your pro career. What was it like, and what was it like going from that amateur level to the professional level first off?
So I had a fight in Louisiana that I thought was going to be my last fight before I transitioned to the professional leagues. But I lost that one by split decision, and then COVID happened. So the coaches that I were with at the time, they were like, we want you to get another win before you go pro. Because I had already gave them the streak they wanted. I won the belt. And I'm just like, what more do you want from me? And just like, look, I need you to get more experience, you know. One more fight ain't going to hurt. So COVID happens, still training, end up getting my last amateur fight, won that belt for the middleweight championship at Rage in the Cage. Then that's when we went professional in November, a little bit after my birthday. And I would say I knew at that point I could throw knees and elbows, which gave me a different sense of curiosity and just a tad bit of anxiety. But it wasn't to a point where it was with my very first fight, if that makes sense. It's just like, okay, we're just adding 2 more things to the mix, you know, now we can actually like get after it. And I won my pro debut. And
there you go.
You know, so I was cool with that.
Right on. What did you have to really work on going from that amateur level, like throughout that time period when you were doing amateur fights? What did you have to really improve on? I know you said the wrestling wasn't your strong point. Apart from just the wrestling and jiu-jitsu, what other things were really needed to be worked on before you were able to move up to the professional level?
I wanted my cardio and stamina endurance to be top notch because I knew going 5 minutes was going to be a challenge in itself right there. But I knew also that the amateur fights that I had, I went all 3 rounds before, and the 2 title fights that the 2 title fights that I had, I went all 5 rounds, and I had 3 as an amateur. So I knew that experience could help me transition into the professionals because of the ring time that I had.
Okay. All right. You stepped up into the professional level. Was there a huge change in talent level from the amateur level?
Way different. Like the first guy that I fought, he was 6'7". I ain't never fought nobody.
Holy crap.
Yeah, I never fought nobody that tall before in my amateur days. So it was just like, what the heck? I'm literally looking up at this dude like this.
Jesus.
Okay, I'm going to take you down, big guy. You know?
You're going down.
Basically, you know.
Get down here. Yeah,
get down here. Watch, I'm going to knock you down to my size now. I'm used to being a taller guy, so it's just like, what the hell? She's looking at. I'm looking at me like that. And skill level, endurance from each one, like it was all different. Like you could definitely tell who was training and who wasn't at that point. Like a person that was just like, oh yeah, I'm just an MMA fighter, man. Those are more of the amateur guys in the beginning, like the street beefs guys and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
then you got the guys that are like in the gym every day, doing extra work every day, and yeah, you can. It's
Yeah.
definitely a difference.
It's noticeable. You know, the guys are putting in their work. You know, they're going in, they're honing their craft, whether they're a ground-based fighter or a stand-up fighter, or, you know, they got a real good mix of both, you know, because there's been a lot of fighters that can do it all, you know. So it's really a difficult thing, I imagine, to prepare for somebody who's a really well-rounded fighter. How do you do that? Is it something where your coaches would have somebody that watch footage of them and then try to imitate the way they fight? Or is it something completely different than that?
It really depends on the fighter in question, because one fight that I didn't have no film on the guy. I didn't have no Facebook or anything. Like, didn't know nothing about the guy at all. So
Yeah.
I just had to focus strictly on myself and what I was good at, what I needed to get better at, what I need to stop doing, what I need to start doing, things like that. And for the other guys that I've had film on and watched countless amount of times, some of my training partners that would emulate the things that my upcoming opponent would be doing or would try to do when we would fight, and still focusing on myself, making sure everything that I'm doing is correct, just so I can handle my business.
Right on. Right on. You've been fighting as a professional for a while now, right?
Going on 3 years. Yeah, going on 3 years.
Right on, man. Right on. 3 years of professional fighting, and it took a minute, I'm sure, of highlight reel knockouts or submissions in order for Dana White to take notice of you. How did that come about, man?
Man, like I still reminisce about that time that it happened and how it happened and everything, still to this day, and still be mind blown that how it happened. Like, whenever I went 5-0, I was already getting calls from agencies. Like, shout out to my sports agency, Iridium Agency, and Jason House and Peter Johannes, that whole crew. They talked to me before, but I was trying to be loyal to the coach that I had at the time, because he was getting me fights. Like, they would give me fights at promotions that would build me up and stuff like that. Excuse me. Acid reflux.
Better out than in. Better
Yeah,
out than in, Shrek always says, man.
you're right about that. So I want to say, basically, after I lost, I didn't hear from him again until after I won that belt. And then whenever I won that belt, then that's when they came running again and was like, hey, we can get you on the contender series, or we can get the process started to where the moment you sign with us, then we can get the ball rolling. So I'm just like, are you serious right now? Like, stop playing with me. Like, I'm emotional right now, okay? You know? So I'm going to my coaches, I'm going to my teammates. I'm like, hey, man, this opportunity is here, blase, blase. They so-called give me their blessing for it. And I end up signing with them. And shortly after that, after hearing about a contender series fight that my old teammate, the guy that he had fought, was on there, he told me about it and how he lost. So I was like, and he was like, oh man, you should fight the guy that he got beat by. I'm like, bro, that's not how that works. You gonna just call people out and just like, hey, I want to fight that guy, blah, blah, blah. And I got to think about it. Does it really work like that? So I get on the phone with my agent and tell him, hey, man, can we fight that guy? Like, is that possible we can set that up? Because I'm trying to get in the, in the mix. So
Yeah.
he tell me, give me a couple days and I'll figure it out. I'm like, all right, bet. Gave him a couple days. He let me know that the matchup was happening. And I'm like, shoot, let's go.
Hell yeah.
Let's
Well,
roll, I'm ready
earthquake.
to go. So that fight happened and hell, here we are right now. But we're gonna get back there sooner or later. Watch. We'll be back.
Hell yeah, man. Hell yeah. I imagine you will. You're doing kickboxing now, I saw? How's that working out for you, man?
Yeah, but that guy, he pulled out because of medical reasons from what I was told. And like I told my coach, like anybody that does pull out, I'm pretty sure has a good reason for it because I've had a reason to where I was ineligible to compete because of injuries and sickness and stuff like that, which is totally understandable. I'm not doubting that man's courageousness by any means necessary because we all have those moments where we're just unable to make some stuff happen. And
definitely,
I thought I was going to be able to go kickboxing, but they never found anybody. So we're just back to square one, training, staying ready so we don't have to get ready. And, you that's it.
Yeah. So you started off, you said at like light heavyweight in your first fight. Did you go quickly to middleweight or did it take a little bit of time for you to go, all right, I'm going to drop weight down a little bit more?
So what had happened was I was probably like roughly 220 before I started. I'm losing the weight. I'm thinking this is a suitable weight class for me starting out. Then I'm losing more weight and I'm like, okay, maybe that's not the best ideal weight class for me. So that fight my first fight was at 205. My second fight was at 195. Then my third fight, which was a title fight, that was when I first went to 185. So as I went to 185, I just realized all I had to do was just diet and just eat better, instead of just eating cheeseburgers and burritos and stuff like that every day like I used to, brownies and cakes and candy and everything else. I was just like, all I got to do is just clean up the diet and they'll be fine. So staying at 185 consistently, then I decided to go to welterweight. So, and that's working out. Yeah, that's working out. It's not as bad as most people think, with that.
That's 170, right?
Yes, that's 170. So
right on.
That extra 15 pounds, that comes with a lot of portion control, dieting, and then that last couple pounds, 5 to 10 pounds, that's when you got to cut out the salt and sodium and such. And you never really understand how much you really love salt until you start weight cutting. I'm trying to tell you, bruh, salt makes everything taste so much better. It does.
I imagine, man. You can't use Tony Chachere's. You can't use any of the other good stuff. No taco seasoning for you. What the hell are you going to do? I mean, you got bland ass food at that point, but you got to do it, right?
You have to do it. Because you don't want to be known as that guy. Oh, he doesn't make weight. He's unprofessional. No, I can't say that about me. You won't say that about me.
Is there cheat days in your diet?
Hell yeah, sure.
What are those looking like?
Man, shoot. Like right now, I made me some hood nigga hamburger helper today. So what I did was
That's good shit, man. That's good shit.
I had some steak left over. Well, not left over that I had got from the store or whatever. I was like, I do want some pasta, so I think I'll make me some steak Alfredo or whatever. So I cooked the steak up, boil these noodles with macaroni elbows and everything, mix that up, and shoot, I had me a good old lunch / dinner.
Oh, I don't doubt it, man.
Man, it was good. I ain't gonna lie. Like
I don't doubt it.
growing up, you eating hamburger helper with hamburger meat, from the package. Nah,
Yes, sir.
we ain't doing that no more, dog. We ain't doing that no more, dog. We make our own sauce and we putting different meat in there, and I put a little veggies in there, and I was like, yeah.
This is it. This is the one right here.
Yeah, it was good. Look, if you would have spent a little bit more time getting that charger, I ain't gonna lie, I was gonna put me something in the bowl and throw it in the microwave real quick. I ain't gonna lie.
I hear you, man. I hear you. Have you been able to get into any other larger fight promotions, PFL or Bellator or anything?
No, not yet, man. I've been reaching out to some, and ain't nobody hit me back up yet. And then I'm just waiting on my new coach now to put my name in the hat or in a few hats to get my name out there to let them know I'm down to fight. I'm trying to get some stuff going before April, which my son's gonna be here. My firstborn, so I'm trying to fight and get as much money as I can before he gets here.
How's that going? How's that doing for you, man? How's that feeling? Is it like a nervous, anxious feeling? I have two kids. I have a 13-year-old and I got an 8-year-old. And man, before they were born, the feeling of it's coming, it's almost time. It just, how's it doing? How's it going for you on your end, man?
Man, it's really feeling like I'm going into a fight, honestly. It's just like, damn,
Longest
this is
fight
a
of your life,
9-month camp. I'm fighting for my life every day. Trying to go to work and train and everything. It's like, oh my God, I don't know which way to go. Anxiety is highs. I am not even gonna lie. But
Yes,
I'm excited nonetheless and nervous and everything else. I'm just waiting to see my little man and, I'm just excited, man.
Yeah, man.
Just wait. I'm just like, look, hurry up. But at the same time, take your time. Take your time.
I know what you mean, man. I know what you mean. It is the longest fight of your life, but it is going to be the best fight of your life. Trust me when I say that, man. Trust me when I say that. And nothing I wouldn't do for my tiny kid, my little girls. I mean, my 13-year-old's going to be 14 in September. And I'm like, stop growing up. Just stop. You're getting too old right now, you were 5 years old yesterday. What's going on? You're 13 today. Are you kidding me? Time flies, man. It's nuts, man. It's nuts. As far as memorable moments for you in the fight game, give me your top three. They don't have to be in any particular order. Top three fights you've had.
My first fight, because that was it right there. That's what started it all. My first win, which was right after the first fight, and my first time winning a championship belt, because I remember all those times that I would run up the mountain. I forgot the name. Ain't that Petty Jean Mountain?
Oh man.
Yeah, I think that's Petty Jean Mountain. When you go straight up you can go up through downtown and come down through the mountain from Whittington or whatever, right?
Oh, are you talking about West Mountain, or are you talking about?
I don't know what I thought it was Petty Jean. My bad.
Oh, you're good, man. You're good.
West Mountain.
Petty Jean Mountain is somewhere else, I think.
Yeah, so I'll run up West Mountain go all the way to the top and just shout out as loud as I could, I will be Hot Springs, Arkansas's champion or world champion one day. And the fact that I've done it, you know, it made the dream, the road that I've been on with this MMA thing even more worth the while. Cause it's just like, if you speak what you're going to do in existence and do everything that you're supposed to do along with those words, then you can make anything happen, man. And that's what has kept me going through all those times.
Definitely, man. Definitely. It's a testament to how far you've gotten and how much you've done. As far as your dedication and everything, as far as the fights that you've had and how far your career has come, and like 3 years professional fighting, multiple time middleweight champion, dude, you've done a lot of awesome stuff, and it's a testament to your dedication and hard work and that drive that you were talking about, saying, you know, speak it into existence and it'll happen eventually. You know, that's a testament to everything, man. Kudos to you in the biggest way possible, man.
Thank you.
It takes no problem at all, dude. It takes a really dedicated person to do that. And someone with a drive and someone with a passion and a dream to achieve anything, really. But for you to do what you've done, man, it's just outstanding. It's amazing. My head is literally now off to you.
Thank you so much, man. Hell, it wasn't always like this for me, to be honest with you, bro. Like, I would tell most of my friends and stuff like that, you could not put exercise, workout, training, strength and conditioning in the same sentence as Donovan's name. Like, I was not down for it back then. Like, even doing
you weren't motivated?
Not like, I wouldn't say that exactly, but I was always motivated to do something and to get more. I just didn't find my niche, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I never knew how much it would mean to me to actually be immersed in it and to do it like I'm doing it versus how I could have been doing it back then. See, when I would watch my Dragon Ball Z and stuff like that, I would do a little push-ups and run and stuff like that, just a little bit, just to be strong like Goku and Chuck Norris and stuff like that. But after a while, I would start thinking like, I'm not really earning anything off of it. It ain't making me no money, so I really shouldn't be even doing it at this point. But knowing how much needs to be done with the preparation to be a martial artist, that's what made it even more important to do even more, especially at the capacity that I was doing it at. I mean, you can only train so much to say that you're good, but if you want to be the best, like the greatest of all time, you need to be putting in way more than just like one time a day or a couple times a week or whatever. It needs to be a consistent, everyday thing. Like, you have to live and breathe martial arts, and that's what I got to do, and that's what I'm doing.
Okay, man. Hell yeah. With the drive and the dedication that you have, what would you say to people that are aspiring to do literally anything and have this fear of overcoming, of not ever being able to overcome or achieve whatever goal they're setting? What advice would you be able to give to them, man?
Man, it was this quote that Nipsey Hussle said, and rest in peace to that guy, man, real solid rapper and guy. He said, "You closer to where you started than you're closer to where you are now than when you started." And I feel like I'm so much closer to where I was from then to now because, like I said, I've been in the Contender Series. I've been in front of Dana White, and I know for a fact in my heart, in my soul, in my mind that I belong there. I can get there. I just have to keep putting in the work that I did to get there. Then once I get there, I got to do way more than what I had. And to everybody out there, don't stop. If you stop, as far as you are right now, everything that you have done at this point would just be out the window. You would have done it for nothing because it got hard, because you feel like you couldn't handle it. Like, the game gonna test you. You're gonna have trials and tribulations. You're gonna have hardship. You're gonna have struggle. And with struggle comes success. With all those things that are in front of you, you gotta be able to knock it down. You gotta have the courage to stand up to it. And you gotta have faith in God if you believe in God. I'm not gonna force that on anybody or anything like that, but
Yeah, man.
So.
Yeah, well, for me, it's always been a fear-based thing, right? A lot of people get afraid, man. They get afraid of what other people are going to think. They get afraid of what people might say. They get afraid of what if they fail. And I heard this awesome quote. I don't know who it was by, but I've heard it several times with guests on this show. Everything that you could possibly want is one step past fear. You step past your fear, and everything you could possibly want is right there. All it takes, like you said, is that drive, that faith, and that ability to move forward. The ability to keep going even when it gets hard or scary. Because if you can do that, if you can find the strength within yourself to keep yourself moving forward, to keep yourself going. I feel like Rocky right now. I don't know if that sounds right, but I do feel like Rocky right now. You gotta keep moving forward. You gotta keep pushing. Keep going. That's how winning's done. That whole speech from Rocky Balboa.
Yeah.
But it's true. It's very true though. You gotta keep moving forward, even through the fear. Because once you step past that, you'll see that you were afraid for no reason. Yeah, you might fall on your face once or twice. You might fall on your face a couple different times. You may mess up, but that doesn't mean anything. That just means that you've tried. You have done what you have wanted to do. And now it's time to work on it and make it better and do better than you've done the first time. And I just think that's a really cool thing, For me, it's always been fear. Fear of playing a musical instrument on a stage in front of people. That's scary as hell to sing in front of people and stuff like that, I haven't gotten over that fear, but I'm working on it every day by singing at my job in front of students at the school I work at, by singing in front of staff members, singing out loud in a cafeteria that's completely empty,
Yeah, man.
Working on it day by day, just trying to build my confidence up to get it. And I think anybody can do that. It's not just me. It's not just you that's able to do it in any situation. It's anybody, But, man, I just want to say again, thank you for coming on here, man. It's awesome to have you on here. Usually, winding down now, usually we, have this segment at the end of every episode where we say 3 things that we're grateful for. Mine don't usually ever change. They're mainly the same things. I'm very grateful for my family, my friends, my wife, or not my wife, she's gonna be next spring, hopefully. That's a spoiler for anybody that knows me. My fiance, my 2 beautiful kids, my parents, my best friends in the world, anybody who's really supported me. I'm very grateful to have them, because without them, I may not have had the confidence to do anything that I'm doing right now. I'm very grateful, for you, for any of my guests that came on here, because God, man, I'm just some dude that's talking to people. You know what I mean? You ain't gotta come and talk to me. But I appreciate everybody who chose to come on here and talk, because without y'all, I would just be some random dude talking to himself online. I could do that. I could do that on my phone. It's a journal thing, you know? I don't have to be online here, but you guys have helped so much by coming on here, and it means the world to me. So I'm very grateful for all of my guests that come on. And I'm grateful for God, you know, because without God, none of us would be here, man. He gave us the life, the air we breathe. He gave us the earth, the food we consume, the friends and family that we have all around us. The Lord gave us. What are 3 things in this moment, Donovan, that you are grateful for?
God, first and foremost, man, make sure he wakes me up and puts me to sleep and gives me everything that I need. My family, that I'm going to be starting in April with my baby and my babies. My support system that I got behind me with my babies and my teammates and such like that. Like, I'm very grateful for everything and just, you know, just here. And I'm just grateful to be alive. So I can't really have any complaints, and I ain't got nothing to really want other than to make my dreams come true other than that. But I'm cool with everything, man.
Right on, man. Right on.
Yeah, I'm grateful for you too for having me on and asking me to be a part of this podcast and process and stuff like that, man. I really appreciate you, Mr. Adam. Like, real talk.
Yeah, man, I appreciate you, dude. Like I said, my brother, I told you beforehand, before we got on here, my brother suggested me talk to you, and I was like, what, you think he would talk to me? And like, he's told me this so many times, but sometimes he still has to drill it in my head. He's like, he's just a normal person, you know, he's just a person, you know what I mean? It's not like, I'm like, but he's been on the contender, Dana White, you know, all this stuff, and he's just a person, man. You know what I mean?
Promise you, bro, like, a lot of people, they would assume that about me at face value, but whenever they get to talking, I'm like, man, you just like, you know, like, yeah, like, I'm not going to be any kind of way to anybody just because of where I've been in life and how much money I got and anything like that, because I'm going to treat the CEO the same way I would treat the janitor of the building. And depending on which person gives me more respect or as much respect as each one gives me, hey, we both gonna be good. Hey, but if you get to being a disrespectful janitor, I'm gonna show you what it means to be cleaned up. And if you want to be a disrespectful CEO, hell, you ain't gonna have that business for long. So you better mind yours whenever you talk to me. So, hey.
He said you'll get this business.
You know what I'm saying? You're going to get some business that I ain't going to want to stand on. But I'm standing on your neck. So.
Right on, man. Right on. Well, thanks for coming on here, man. I appreciate you very much. We'll have to do this again at some point. What do you got coming up?
Man, fight-wise, nothing right now. I'm just trying to get something going on, hopefully in March, hopefully in April. It has to be before my son is born. And once I find out, I'll be sure to let you know so we can get the word out.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Not a problem at all, man. I'd love to help out.
Thank you again for having me and taking the time out to talk to me and get to know me a little bit in my story. And I really appreciate you, brother.
Yes, sir, man. No problem, man. I appreciate you coming on and sharing your story, man. Not a lot of people would do that, honestly. So it means the world that you would. And you have no clue how many people have not responded to messages or turned me down. So, I mean, I appreciate you coming on here, man. But yeah, man, hopefully we can get you back on at some point in the future maybe after your kid's been born or after you've had some more fights under your belt. We can talk a little bit more about that, man.
Oh, yeah, I'll be down. Just let me know and we can get it go.
Yes, sir. All right, man. Well, you have a great rest of your evening, buddy.
You do the same thing. Have a great one.
You know, talking to Donovan was an awesome experience. I didn't expect him to be as down to earth as he is. You know, he's a very laid back guy, a very cool, calm, collected guy. We got to talk to him about his life. You heard it on the episode, from Dragon Ball Z to Dana White's Contender series. The guy's had an awesome journey. He's been able to overcome adversity through losses from inexperience, but also from losses due to his own, I don't want to say arrogance, but due to him, thinking that there wasn't anyone that could beat him. He learned from that mistake, and he worked his ass off to get a win the next time. The guy is just a fighter in all aspects of life, from the cage to real life, and now he's going into the fight of his life, becoming a father in April. Guys, there is no bigger fight than being a parent, and it's the best fight you could possibly have, because you're going to fight with everything that you have for your child. Trust me, I know. I have 2 beautiful little girls, and they are my entire world, and I will fight tooth and nail for them till the day I die. Donovan, man, it has been an honor to have you on. It's been a privilege and a pleasure, my friend. I can't wait to have you on again when we can talk about so much more than just your fighting career. And we talked a little bit off camera about it. So, man, until next time, you have a great rest of your day, and I can't wait to talk to you again. Let's look forward to our next guest. This guy is one of the biggest name value people I've had on the show, and I am super stoked about this episode. He is a former Mr. Money in the Bank winner from WrestleMania 23 in the WWE. He's a former WWE United States champion and a former 2-time TNA champion. We are talking to Mr. Anderson, formerly known as Mr. Kennedy. I'm a huge wrestling fan. I watched this guy 2006, 7, 8. I watched him quite a bit, and I got the privilege to see him live here in Hot Springs at a TNA house show when he went against Jeff Jarrett. It was awesome, and I can't wait to see the guy again and be able to talk to him this time and ask him a whole bunch of questions. And I can't wait for you to be part of this, to be able to see it. It's going to be a blast, guys. I am very excited about this. So, guys, as always remember to listen when Adam talks. You guys have a wonderful rest of your day, night, evening, whatever time it is you're watching or listening to this, and we will see you very soon.